What's going on, guys? Seth here for Tasty Loot Gaming, and I thought it'd be fun to discuss the Steam Game Festival Summer Edition, which is happening right now, but ends on June 22nd. If you don't know what that is, it is a game festival digitally being brought to us by Steam. With E3 not happening, and even last year when E3 did happen, they put out the game festival to allow people to kind of get that booth demo experience of E3 at home, and they're doing it again this year, and they've released a bunch of demos. So I actually went through, downloaded 10 of these demos, I played them all, and I'm going to review them all quickly, give you my grades of what I thought of the demo, and possibly my hype or not hype for the game moving forward towards its release. Some of these might be out already. Some of them I've noticed are games that are coming out this year, maybe next year, or some of them are out. I mean, there's a demo in here for fucking Heavy Rain, which I thought was kind of weird, part of this festival. So apparently they wanted to get that demo out there to people who might not have picked that game up. So anyway, let's go through 10 of these games, and I'm going to give you my reviews of every single one of them. All right, number 10 on our list is Backbone. Backbone is a noir role-playing detective adventure. You are Raccoon Private Eye Howard Lotor, a second-class citizen of dystopian Vancouver, BC, inhabited by animals. Interrogate a diverse cast of characters, collect evidence, and choose which leads to follow. This is coming out in 2021 via Eggnut, and yeah, my overall thoughts on this game is I actually love the visual style of this game. I think the pixel art is really well done. I love the noir aesthetic to it, and I love pretty much everything about it visually. I think it's a very creative game. I think a lot of the animations are really good, and as much as I'm not a huge fan of the noir genre, I like it enough. It is done really well here. I like that there's a lot of decisions to be made when you're walking around asking questions, a lot of ways to go about doing things. You can go into a place, get kicked out, and have to find another way to go back in there, or find a way to go through it and sneak around a bit, it seems. I might be wrong on that, but it just has a lot to offer when it comes to telling a story and giving you ways to go through that story. All in all, I really enjoyed this game, and I'm going to give it a very strong B+. This is a game that I think I will be interested in when it releases. Alright, number 9 is Everspace 2. Everspace 2 is a fast-paced single-player space shooter with deep exploration, tons of loot, and classic RPG elements. Experience a thrilling story set in a vivid, handcrafted open world full of secrets and perils on your journey to become human after all. This is coming from developer Rockfish Games, and it is coming out in December 2020 to Steam Early Access. I've actually played the original Everspace, and I remember when I played it, I believe on Xbox Game Pass, I thought it was okay, but it didn't really do a whole lot for me. Playing this, though, it seems a bit more of the same, but honestly, I found myself enjoying this. So recently I started playing Elite Dangerous, which I'm really enjoying as well, and Everspace 2 feels like a lighter version of that, and by lighter I mean significantly lighter. It feels arcadey in the way it plays, and that's good because not every space game needs to be super deep. The graphics are actually really good. I think it's really clean looking. I think it plays really well, and I love that there is constant loot to be found when you kill enemies. I think it has a really creative system of having these little instanced areas that you do missions and then flying in between them, essentially having glorified loading times being you jumping into hyperspace to go to the next area. And I think it's just a really creative light version of the space sim genre, even though I wouldn't call this a space sim. Overall, I think it's really fun. This is a game that I think I might actually be picking up as well, and I'm going to give it a very firm B. I think it's pretty cool. I'd like to play it more. Alright, number 8 is XO1. XO1 says in its description, a strange signal, an alien craft, an interplanetary, gravity-defying journey through space and time. This is coming from developer Expletive, and the release date is coming soon, so we can assume soon will be sometime this year, hopefully. I played XO1, and this is a game that I actually downloaded just based off the visual style. A lot of the pictures are pretty minimal. You see some kind of orb on the ground, some kind of little sphere, and desert landscapes with clouds and sun, and it had kind of an intriguing look to it. So I tried it out. I actually like this a lot more than I thought I was gonna. It has a very Journey-esque feeling to it. It feels like one of those games where you kind of start from one point and you just go forward and you kind of experience the game. This game has really, really good sound design. I like the music. The visuals are appealing to me. It has this desolate feeling, but also kind of beautiful feeling. But the thing I like about it the most is, like a lot of these Journey-style games, you press the space bar, kind of like in Tribes, if you've ever played Tribes, to slide down a hill. And as you're coming to the bottom of the hill and you're about to go up the other hill, you let go. And so every time you hold space bar, the gravity pulls you down. And when you let go, you're released from that gravity pull. So you get this kind of skiing effect, like in Tribes, where you're flying over hills and you're trying to keep that momentum, all the while having a double jump and being able to turn your orb into a flying saucer and glide around the map. And the whole experience was just actually really, really interesting. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. So this is a game that I'm going to look forward to trying when it comes out. I don't know if I'll be buying it. I keep telling myself I want to buy this because I did like it. But I feel like this is also a game that we're going to be getting on like PlayStation Plus or Game Pass pretty quickly after its release, if it does come out for the consoles. I'm sure it would. I don't know why it wouldn't, but overall I did like it. I want to give this one also a pretty strong B. I liked it, so I would definitely be looking into it once it comes out. I think it's a really relaxing and really cool experience that I think a lot of people should probably check out if they like those kind of games. All right, number 7 is Ghostrunner. Ascend humanity's last remaining shelter, a great tower city. The tower is torn by violence, poverty, and chaos. Conquer your enemies, discover the secrets of the superstructure and your own origin, and obtain the power to challenge the Keymaster. This is coming from One More Level, 3D Realms, and a couple other developers. So this seems to be a project by many different developers, and it is coming out this year in 2020. So yeah, it explains the story, I guess. But what this game is it's a first-person action game that is technically a first-person shooter, but it definitely is trying to be more of a challenging, almost puzzle-like game. You'll go into arenas and have to do a lot of parkour, jump around, figure out the terrain while people shoot at you. Kind of reminds me of Super Hot in that sense. And if you get hit, you die. So if you die, you reset and you have to figure out how to go through that map again. And there's just a lot of dodging. There's a cool mechanic where you can kind of pause time or really slow it down quite a bit to the point where everything kind of stops and you're able to move midair when a bullet's coming by you, which feels satisfying as they're passing by. But yeah, the real big aspect of this game, at least with the demo that I played, feels like it's more about not getting hit and getting that ninja experience than it is more so about the first person aspect, the shooting aspect or slicing aspect of the game. That feels secondary to the challenge of not being hit, which I can respect, but it's not really my kind of game. If I play a game like this, I want to be a little bit more traditional, I guess, whereas this feels closer to like a puzzle game to me than it does an FPS, which is fine. I think it's cool. And overall, everything that I played of it, I found it interesting enough, but I was pretty happy when the demo was over and I was done. So I'm going to give this game, I think, a B-. It's not necessarily for me, but I think the people who do like this kind of game are definitely going to dig this game. I think people who are in for it, like, enjoying challenges in games, or, going like, oh, I beat this level in like fucking 2 minutes and 3 seconds, and oh, how fast did you beat it? Like, people who want to speedrun stuff, people that just kind of get off on that. I was able to do this, I was able to, jump around, I was able to get through that area in one run without restarting style of games. I think people like that are definitely going to dig this game, and I would definitely recommend it to you. Number 6 on our list is Grounded, coming from Obsidian Entertainment, coming out July 28th, 2020, so very soon. And this is their survival game, very much like Conan Exiles, Ark, and Minecraft. It says, the world is a vast, beautiful, and dangerous place, especially when you have been shrunk to the size of an ant. Can you thrive alongside the hordes of giant insects, fighting to survive the perils of the backyard? So I played this, and I've actually been anticipating this game. It's no secret, I'm a big fan of this genre of game. I like games where you get to run around, fight things, level up, look for resources, have to survive, have to drink water, have to make food, have to build things. I love building things in games. And in this, you are, building, a workbench. You're building all sorts of stuff. The thing that really kind of differentiates this game from the other games in the genre, which I very much welcome, is that this is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. This is a game where you've been shrunken down into your front yard, essentially, and, blades of grass are like trees. And there's ants running around, there's ladybugs, there's spiders, and the game is just full of charm. There's such an individuality to this game in a genre that's otherwise, pretty full, and definitely has room to have new games show up, but you got to really bring something to the genre if you want to join it, in 2020. And I think Grounded is really doing that. Obsidian, is a pretty big developer, has a cult following, and is known for specific types of games they make, and they really bring that flair to this game. Even looking at like a ladybug looking up on a blade of grass at like this little like gnat, and they're both like interacting. One was like kind of pissed and looking at the other one. The other one was up there jumping up and down, staring down at it. And this was just happening naturally as I was running around in this fucking grass forest. The game is just full of character. On top of all the things that you expect from this genre, which, I definitely want in a game like this. But it also seemed to have a narrative playing out as you play it. There's a story unfolding and places to explore and really interesting stuff that you would not see from games in this genre, namely like a soda can, which seems mundane at our size, but at this size, it's interesting to be able to walk inside that. Or some kind of electronic you're able to go into, and you can see, all the circuits and not necessarily the motherboard, but just all the electronic components inside it, which is really cool. And even to be able to see like a house in the background above the grass, gives you this sense of how small you are that I think is really fucking cool. I'm definitely going to pick this game up when it comes out, or if it comes out on Game Pass, I'll be playing it there. I'm looking forward to this game, and the demo itself, I'm going to give a very strong B+. I'm going to give it a B+, just because it's exactly what I wanted and more. So hopefully this game is awesome when it comes out, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing this, hopefully co-op in the near future.
I also have some good news.
What's that?
I love you. Oh, with the lights off? Works for me.
All right, number 5 on our list is Haven. The story is they escaped to a lost planet to be together. A RPG adventure about love and freedom. To play solo or co-op with a special someone. This is being made by the Game Bakers, and it is coming out this year. And holy shit, this is the cringiest game I've played in 2020. This is a game that I think is taking up the mantle of games in my past that I've been not a fan of, like Drawn Together or Drawn to Death, and Life is Strange. Games I'm not a fan of. This game in particular is it's really hard to kind of explain. The whole game is really trying to sell this idea of these two being in a relationship and being in a loving relationship, and they just really love each other and they like each other so much. But as you play it, it's so apparent how shallow and minimal the writing is, to the point where it seems like some kind of weird basic fan fiction of something that's already established without actually having anything established. It's like those weird things you read on the internet where someone's like, well, they just loved each other a lot and he just did everything that she wanted to take care of her, and she just really loved him so much, blah blah blah, but there's nothing to it. So, and as they're trying to sell this idea, you constantly have these scenes of dialogue where they're talking, and there's so many points where somebody will just vaguely say something, the other one says instantly what they think that means, and the other person has to correct them. That happened like 3 times in this one demo.
How long do you think this is gonna last?
The flow? Well, if we keep our consumption in check, I think a few days.
No, I meant us. Us here. You?
All right, let's talk about it.
I was just gonna ask if you could switch off the light.
Oh.
It's really annoying to see 2 people who are supposed to be in a relationship not communicate at all. I mean, they're horrible at communication. There's nothing that really connects these two. They have zero chemistry at all. They both just kind of exist in this idea of like, I don't know, being attracted to each other at the most. They hold hands constantly, they're hugging constantly, they're kissing constantly, they say the dumbest shit to each other. The dialogue is fucking horrible. It's horrible. And they're just, and then like after they say it, they just fucking like want to cuddle. There's a part where he's like, hey, how did you fix the engine? And she's like, yeah, I'm working on it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, I got some more good news. And she's like, oh yeah, what's that? He's like, yeah, I love you. And then they start making out on the fucking table. They're really trying to sell this idea of like a fucking relationship that just seems like what the ideal relationship to a 16-year-old would be. There's no depth to it at all. And the dialogue is so bad. And then the gameplay is feels like a fucking mini game out of like any run-of-the-mill game. And they're so trying to push this whole like they like each other, they're in a relationship. Hey, did you know they're in a relationship? Then when you're sitting there just like gliding around this fucking map together, if you go in a straight line for too long, one of them will float up and grab your hand and you'll hold each other's hand. And then if you turn too hard, they let go. And then right after that, they fly back up and hold each other's hands. And just like, I get what they're trying to do there, but it just looks so clunky and stupid. I just really, this game was really fucking hard for me to play. I got no hype for this game. I can't handle how bad the writing is. I think it's just fucking ridiculous. And I think that their ambitions of making a romantic cooperative game completely muddy any fucking sense of making a game that I would want to sit down and play and enjoy for myself. So if you're into really cheesy romantic fanfics, that you find randomly on the internet, you might be into this. But if you have any kind of realistic view on what a relationship should be, how people should communicate, not misinterpret everything they say to each other, and maybe not play this game for that aspect. I give them points for trying this, but they need someone else in the writing. They need someone else writing the shit, because whoever's writing it has done a horrible job. I'm giving this game a fucking D-. I have zero interest in playing this game when it comes out. It is fucking hard to play. All right.
Oh, I think the nest is done.
Yeah, but that's our home.
That's true. It is our home.
Slaughtering indigenous creatures was never my area of expertise.
Next one up is The Rift Breaker. The Rift Breaker is a base-building survival game with action RPG elements. You are an elite scientist commando inside an advanced mecha suit capable of dimensional rift travel. Hack and slash countless enemies, build up your base, collect samples, and research new inventions to survive. This is coming out sometime in 2020, so we're running out of 2020 for this to come out, so hopefully it'll be soon. It's being made by Exor Studios, and yeah, this is literally what they say it is. I had 2 people recommend this game to me, so I was like, it was a high priority for me to try. And it is essentially an ARPG meets base building and survival game meets a tower defense game. My overall thoughts is the idea is cool. It functions well. I think it does everything it's supposed to do really well. It feels like kind of a MOBA / ARPG in its gameplay. I like that you're base building in the sense of like an RTS. It feels very much like an RTS. You're upgrading units. You're making things that are collecting resources. You're building up walls. And then I'm actually some of you might not know this. I'm actually a really big fan of tower defense games. I love them. And if I play one and it's even decent, I'll get hooked to it instantly. And has that element as well. In fact, I kind of put some of those ideas into play when I tried this demo. And all in all, storyline wise, I don't care about it. I don't think it's that compelling. I think the design of the game is kind of generic looking. And I think the name is awful, which is not going into my grade. That's just, a thought. The Rift Breaker. Sounds so generic. But the gameplay does what it's supposed to do. And I think it marries a lot of really cool genres, and I enjoyed playing it. Yeah, this is a game that I might pick up if it's on sale once it comes out, unless it's, a decent price. It would be cool to see this game have co-op. I don't know if it does or not. But I feel like it could be a fun game to play, in between, some bigger games. Maybe take a break and play some Rift Breaker. Yeah, all in all, it's pretty cool. I like that you can destroy pretty much everything around you. You can cut all the grass. There's like huge swarms of enemies that come running at you, which feels really cool. And the weapons and power-ups and towers and stuff feel really good. So all in all, I'm going to give this game a C+, and very strong C+. I'm still interested. I still want to play this game. Reason I'm giving it a C+ is it doesn't do anything super exciting for me. It just works. It does everything it's supposed to do the way it should. And I have pretty strong interest in this. If it's on sale or at a decent price when it releases sometime in 2020. Alright, number 3 is Skellboy. Play as Skippy, the square, flexible skeleton in this cute action RPG to keep a heartbroken court magician from destroying the world with his army of monsters and undead. Change out your body parts with those of enemies and friends and become the hero of Kobold Kingdom. This is being made by Umaiki Games, Umaiki Games. It is coming out in 2020, so another game coming out this year. And yeah, it is, like they said, an action RPG. It feels kind of like an old school Zelda-esque game. They kind of marry this idea of 2D top-down graphics with actual 3D graphics. Everything that is pixel art is actually 3D rendered but flat. Kind of like Paper Mario, but a little thicker. This is paper thick Mario. And all in all, I feel like this game is trying to do something and falls very flat. So I was playing this, and as soon as it started, I was like, oh no. Okay, this is just a really, really basic game. Maybe you'll play this and you'll find it charming, or you'll like the story or something like that. But as a game and its gameplay, it's so rudimentary, it's so basic and standard in what it's doing, that so many games are already doing it as well. Not that there's not room, but they don't really bring anything to the table outside of possibly thinking that their visual style is something that's interesting enough for you to want to play this game over other games. I don't think it is, though. I think it's a very generic looking game. I think the graphics of marrying the 3D and the 2D not only can be done better, but have been done better by a bunch of other games already. So this just feels like somebody who possibly, this might be their first game they made. I don't know. It kind of feels like it, and it feels like, a game that I made and I want to show my friends, like, check out this thing I made. But outside of that, it doesn't feel like something that I would want to purchase. And I don't want to deter other people from supporting these people. Definitely, if this is something that seems interesting, you pick it up. But it was really hard for me to play. It just did not do anything interesting for me to want to play it further. In fact, when I was done with the demo, I was relieved because I felt like I was kind of doing something I didn't want to do. I felt like I was doing a chore or something like that. And I feel like in somebody's head, this was a really good idea, but the execution just was not there. They just did not nail it, and it just really translates to that for me personally. And so this game, I don't have hype for. I will most likely not pick it up. I probably will never even remember it after talking about it right now. And it's a functioning game, though. It does everything it's trying to do. It just doesn't have anything really that interesting to do. So I'm just going to give it a flat C. It just passes. It does what it's trying to do. It just does not do anything. It does not excel at anything. It's not something that I'm that interested in. So. Number 2 on our list is Spiritfarer. Spiritfarer is a cozy management game about dying. As ferry master to the deceased, build a boat to explore the world, care for your spirit friends, and guide them across mystical seas to finally release them into the afterlife. What will you leave behind? This is coming out in 2020, and it is being made by Thunder Lotus Games. The first thing I noticed with this game is the art style, which looks like a cartoon. Kind of reminds me of like a Cartoon Network cartoon or something like that. It has a very minimal style, no textured really art style to it. But also after playing it, I noticed the animations are actually way better than I thought they were going to be. I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the pictures, I'm like, oh, that's got kind of a whimsical look to it. But then I played it and I was like, oh, they actually put a lot of work into these animations. This is not just like a little pet project. So in this game, you're on a boat, you get to explore new locations with all these characters, you get to build relationships with them, you get to hug all of them, and they all have their own animations. There's one person who seems kind of uptight, and then when you hug them, they look shocked for a second, then they're like, oh, okay, this is nice, and then they hug you back. I thought that was kind of a cool touch to add character to these characters. You also get to build onto this boat that you're taking all these spirits to wherever they're going. It has a really smart system where you just kind of put the building where you want to put it, even if it's on top of another building or to the side of another building, or if it's elevated a little bit, it will automatically put a ladder and stilts to wherever you're putting it. So it's kind of no nonsense, just do what you want, design it how you want without any kind of deeper design features, but it just kind of works, and I think it's kind of cool. Overall, I wasn't super in love with this game when I played it, but it seems like a game I want to play the full game of. There's a lot of work put into this. It seems like a really interesting idea. The art style really, holds its own. This game looks like this game. I think it has an identity, and it has some really cool ideas when it comes to, kind of the management, micromanaging, building genre. I think it brings a lot to the table. So this is a game I'm definitely going to be looking out for once it releases. I would definitely recommend it to people who think this sounds interesting. It's pretty interesting. And overall, I'm going to give it probably, for the amount of work they put into it, I'm going to give it a B+. I think it's really well done. So I'll definitely check Spiritfarer once it releases. And the last but not least, number 1 on the list is the Survivalists. A living world full of surprises, secrets, and danger awaits in the Survivalists, an adventure-filled survival sandbox set in the escapist's universe. Explore, build, craft, and even train monkeys with up to 3 friends in a desperate bid to survive. Have you got what it takes to be a survivalist? This is coming out in 2020, and this is being developed by Team 17 Digital, which I believe is the people who make Worms. So I was instantly drawn to this game when I saw it because there was a game back on, I believe, Game Boy called Survival Kids that I played. And I really liked Survival Kids. It was really ahead of its time. You're a kid, you land on an island, crash on an island, and you have to survive. There's a story and stuff that you're trying to, kind of just survive and get rescued. But there's a lot of like going to the woods and having to find resources, stuff like that. Really ahead of its time. I mean, it's really standard stuff nowadays, but this was a long time ago. So when I saw this, it really kind of brought me back to that. In art style, in pretty much what you're doing. I mean, there's a lot of survival games out there now, so this is going to take after that quite a bit. But just the asymmetric viewpoint, the island aspect, being marooned on an island type thing, just really kind of brought me back to that. So I kind of have a soft spot for that from nostalgia. And in playing it, I have to say, I really, really, really like the way this game looks. I think the art style is really good, really clean. It's 3D but 2D looking. I think the crafting system is really interesting. I think the monkey system is really interesting. I think combat feels good. I feel like the systems in place feel really good. Everything about this game is just really tight, everything. And honestly, I kind of talked about this already, but when it comes to survival games, I'm a big fan of the genre. Even if it is a 2D, 3D looking, or 3D, 2D looking game, if you have something to offer, characteristics that kind of differentiate you from everyone else, you're going to catch my attention. And this game definitely does that. I mean, it really feels well made. And that's something I really like about it. There's a lot of really cool things to explore and find on the island as well. Things, like caves to explore and enemies to run into and weird things to interact with that seem like they might be puzzles or something to figure out if you played the game, once the game comes out. And overall, I'm very interested in this game. I will definitely be picking this game up when it comes out. I really like what I played. I really like what I see. And it just plays really well. It does exactly what it's trying to do. well, and it had me hooked playing the demo. So I will definitely be picking this up. I'm going to give this also a very, very strong B+. So yeah, no A's here. Nothing here really blew me away. But there's some really, really cool games and some pretty fucking bad ones that I played during this event. So yeah, that's the 10 games I played. This is still going on for 2 more days. So if there's a demo that is available in the Steam Game Festival Summer Edition, please let me know in the comments which one should I play, which one should I, check out and see and maybe do another video on. Have you downloaded anything through this game festival? What games are you enjoying? Which games are you not enjoying? Do you agree with my list? Do you not agree with my list? Do you think that I was a little too hard on a game? Maybe, I talked up a game that's not that interesting. And let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to the Steam Game Festival Summer Edition and what you've been playing, what you want to play, what sounds interesting, what doesn't sound interesting. But that's going to do it for this TLG Plays, TLG Reacts, fucking Tasty Bit. I don't know what the fuck it is. But we got Tastecast coming out this weekend, so make sure to stay tuned for that. We'll be reacting to a lot of the stuff that came out this week. And until then, have a good week, guys. Have a good weekend, and take it easy.